What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over and talking about our best receivers right now in college football 25. Now, at the time I am recording this, it is Tuesday morning, so we have not seen the stories of the week. We have not seen the In Case You Missed It set. So if we do get a new wide receiver, they are not going to be featured in this video. Also, any card that is an 84 overall that, doesn't have great speed isn't going to be featured in this video either. Because, look, for me, it was either rank the best or just rank all of them. Basically, is what it came down to. And I did include all the 85 overalls. But when it came down to, some of the 84, 83s, all I did include the top dogs, the top guys. So just something to think about. If your favorite card isn't on this list, that is why. That is my reasoning behind it as well. Now, we're going to go over it starting from our top, moving downwards. 83, Chad Johnson. Now, when I'm talking about the best cards on this list, he's got to be maybe D tier. He's probably your best budget option. And if you are looking for a budget wide receiver, I do suggest whether it's Chad Johnson's 82-83, Crabtree's 82-83, one of those legend guys. I mean, this card does have 83 speed, decently quick, obviously a decent overall card. Throw 83 Crabtree right in there. Cards I don't necessarily love, cards that, again, budget cards, but they're not necessarily the top dogs in college football 25 right now. Isaiah Badger, I think I've got to put a tier ahead of those other guys. Isaiah Badger is not going to be like a budget beast, but he's at this stage not super expensive. At the time I am recording this, let's see if I have the coin price of him right now. 26,000 coins. So this card isn't super expensive, but at the same time, he's not like a budget beast. Thing I like about Isaiah Badger is that 83 speed. That's going to be the main reason that, I hype the card up if I do. A solid card that, again, you can run and you can have success with. But again, is he a card I focus on picking up right now? I don't know. Again, he's fine, but he's not necessarily that next level of good. Io Maynor up next. I probably shredded his name, and I apologize if I do, but he's got 84 speed. 84 speed is incredible. Right now, he is 35,000 coins. So again, is he super cheap? Kind of. It's not like he is super expensive. Another solid card that I do think is a tier ahead of these cards. You could maybe even argue because of that 84 speed that he is B tier. And right now, I actually am going to put him at B tier. Is he that good? I don't know. But that's where I'm going to put him. Jacoby George up next. Thing about George is this, guys. He's got good speed as well. 83 speed. That's why, as an 84, they are featured in this video. But again, when he's compared to Io Maynor, I just don't think he is that next level of good. Kevin Conception up next. Now, I just, for the first time, looked at this card today when putting this list together, and I'm like, how have I never really looked in depth on this card? This card is absolutely fantastic. You're looking at 84 speed. You're looking at a good route runner. You're looking at a card that right now, is 36,000 coins. It doesn't get much better than Conception in college football 25 at that wide receiver position, especially if you're looking for 30 or 40,000 coins or less. This card definitely is a card that can play at a pretty high level. I'm a fan of Kevin Conception. Kobe Hudson up next, throw him right in that C tier. 84 overall, 83 speed. And the thing about a lot of these core elites is there's no real differences. All of these cards basically look the same. They're decent route runners. They've got 82 speed. It's just a matter of how expensive they are. He right now is 27,000 coins. He is just fine in college football 25. Not necessarily a card that, I'm probably ever going to run or pick up. But let's say you got him and let's say he's unsellable for whatever reason. He is just fine. Brew McCoy, I know he's an 84 or an 85 overall. The card's only got 81 speed. I don't know. Is it just me, or would you guys rather run the 83 Chad Johnson over Brew McCoy too? You guys can let me know that down below in the comments. Am I over exaggerating it, or is that facts? Let me know. 85 Luther Burden. I'm going A tier with the 85 overall Luther Burden, and here is why. Let me talk to you. Luther Burden, he's got 85 speed, an absolute burner, good catching, good route runner. I don't know why this card is an 85 overall. Like with his stats, he should at least be at 86. He's still 113,000 coins though, so don't think Luther Burden's gonna be cheap. Still super expensive. But let me tell you guys, as far as like an 85 overall, he's gonna be one of the best cards that we do talk about today. Decorion Clark up next, 82 speed. He's overall fine. I'm gonna throw him at C tier. Again, an 85 card overall, but he's just not a card that I'm just necessarily like super stoked about running. CJ Daniels is one of the worst cards on this list. I'm gonna put him at F tier. Think what you want about the card. He's got 80 speed. If a card is 80 speed at the wide receiver position, there's only a certain amount of things I can do or talk about. I'm not gonna hype you up just because I don't really see it with the card. Eric Singleton, I mean, he's okay. He's an 85 overall. He's got 82 speed. I guess I gotta respect him a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's just tough. Like, how are all these cards so slow and have such a high overall? Like, that's, I guess, what I really don't understand. Good route runner. I'll throw him at C tier because he's not super slow. But for Eric Singleton Jr., trust me when I tell you guys, you can do better. Next up, guys, Mike Evans. He is for sure in A tier. No questions asked. I think he's close to S tier. I don't think he quite is S tier, but I definitely think Mike Evans is close. Definitely a card that I've personally ran a lot. And honestly, for his value, one of the best wide receivers for his value in the entire game. Now, am I saying he's better than some of those other guys? No. But for his value, he's definitely up there. Felton up next. I mean, he's got 80 speed. And I know you guys are probably like, Ty, get over it. Not all these cards need to be super fast. He's got 80 speed. What am I supposed to sit up here and say? The card is super slow. He's an 85 overall, way overpriced. I can't sit there and hype him up. Trey Harris, this is a card that's pretty decent. 83 speed, 85 overall, good route runner. I think I've got to go B tier. I got to put him over some of the guys like Badger, like Singleton, because I do think his ceiling is definitely there. Now, right now for Trey Harris, let's look at his price. 45,000 coins. It's not bad for Trey Harris. Don't think he's as good as Evans or Luther Burden, obviously, but his price is, pretty decent for what the card is. This Travis Hunter is A tier, right there with Luther Burden. Like, Hunter and Burden are by far the best core elites at their position in the entire game. Travis Hunter, 84 speed, good route runner. Card is an absolute stud. Problem is, he is just still really, really expensive. Jennings up next. Ollie Jennings. At the time I'm recording this, again, another card that I haven't really talked a bunch about this year. 82 speed. He's fine. C tier. 82 speed, 85 overall wide receiver. He is A-okay. JJ Jones, you've got 80 speed. How am I supposed to sit up here and hype you up when you've got 80 speed and there's just nothing else that I really see in the card? And I'm not trying to hate on JJ Jones, but I remember I sniped him once and I'm like, dude, should I use him? Like, what's the word? He just doesn't really do anything else on the field. So, I don't know. I'm going to put him at F tier. I don't really see it. McMillan does a little bit more, but he still has 80 speed. Like, if you have 80 speed at the wide receiver position, I'm going to be low. McCulley, you've got 81 speed. Another card. It's just like, I'm limited on what I can say about these cards. You have 80 speed. It is really tough. Nick Anderson, 81 speed. Again, really, really tough for me to hype up a guy like Nick Anderson. 81 speed is just simply not getting the job done. Ryra Thomas, he's closer to A tier than he is to B tier. I do like Mike Evans more than him. I'd probably rank A tier somewhat like this. I don't mind Ryra Thomas. But again, is he better than a guy like Luther Burden? I mean, that's a debate to be had for sure. Like Ryra Thomas, 84 speed. He's solid. But again, Mike Evans clears him by a decent margin. Hunter Renfrow, it's tough. He's 6'1" when he shouldn't be 6'1" because the game got messed up. They scanned him in as a different card. It's just kind of a weird situation for Hunter Renfrow. I don't hate the card, 84 speed. I'm actually going to move him up to A tier, but he is at the lower end of A tier. And honestly, I'm moving Mike Evans up. I don't have a choice. With who's at A tier, Mike Evans clears those guys by a wide margin. Ricky White up next, 82 speed, C tier. He's a fine wide receiver, but again, it's really... it's limited in what I can do. If you're an 85 overall and you have 82 speed at the wide receiver position, I can only be so high on the card. It's just the way it is. Next up, guys, we see Rock Taylor, and on my college football fan right now, it's actually not loading Rock Taylor. But from what I know about Rock Taylor, like, he's fine. I don't remember his speed being great. We're gonna skip him for now and see if these other players will load, and then I'll come back to him. But again, he's a card that's probably just another one of these 85 core leads. That's the thing about this, guys. When I'm doing these videos, a lot of these 85 overall core leads, they're not cards I'd recommend picking up. Like Royals is better than a lot of these cards because he's got 83 speed at that 85 overall. That's a card where I'm like, okay, Royals, you can do some things on the court for, or on the field for me. I keep saying court, on the field for me. I don't mind you at all. But he's barely better than a guy like Badger or George. So again, just kind of keep that in mind. Savion Williams, I think, is up next here. For Savion Williams, another card I don't ever see ran. I've never ran the card. He's got 82 speed. He's fine. It's just he's not one of the best wide receivers in the game. This card's immaculate. Troydan is incredible. I'm throwing him at A tier. I really like this card. Even when I did my wide receiver top 10s, Troydan made it way back when. He's got 84 speed. The card's an absolute stud. The auction house reflects that because they know how good Troydan is. He is really, really solid in college football 25. Antoine Wells Jr. up next. He's got 83 speed. Really solid overall player. I'm going to throw him in B tier. Card that, again, if you get him, you can run him. I wouldn't recommend him. Again, any of these 85 overalls, I'd just get these 84s. I think they're just as good, if not better. And they're going to be probably cheaper than those 85 overalls. Chad Johnson up next. I got to throw him in S tier. There's just no situation in which Chad Johnson is not S tier. And it's the same thing for Crabtree. Now, there's going to be levels of S tier, and we'll talk about it when it's there. But those guys are S tier wide receivers. They're both really solid cards that you can put out on the field, and they're going to get open. They are absolutely going to get open. Absolute studs there. Adonai Mitchell, look, I don't want to sit here and hype up this Adonai Mitchell as being like B tier. He's got 83 speed. The rest of the card's not great. I am going to put him at D tier, though. If you chose him, he is free, and he is a card that can absolutely, still to this day, play and be incredible. A.J. Brown, S tier. There's just, again, no real levels to it. I am going to add a GOAT tier because there are some cards that I do want to talk about a little bit more, but it's just tough right now for me. It's really, really tough when I'm talking about, you know, where these cards should rank, and I just don't know. I don't know. I don't think A.J. Brown fits that GOAT tier, but I do have A.J. Brown right now, and I really do like the card. Branch up next, 83 speed for an 83 overall wide receiver. I'm going to go C tier. I do think he's better than Adonai Mitchell. I think he deserves to be in C tier with that 83 speed. Luther Burden, here you guys go. He's GOAT tier. He is absolutely unguardable in college football 25. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for 500,000 coins, he's not a bad value anymore. Like, he used to be a bad value for like 800,000 coins. Now he's 500,000 coins. For that, I mean, good luck beating that. Good luck beating that. That is not a bad price at all for Luther Burden. CJ Daniels, another one of those deep threats, 83 overalls, 83 speed. I'm throwing him at C tier. Definitely a card that can play. Desmond Howard, look, I love you, Desmond Howard, but you're not GOAT tier. You're S tier. It's tough, though. It's so tough because it's like Desmond Howard objectively is... He's better than all the... I'm going to put him at GOAT tier. I'm going to. I feel like I've got to. I don't want to disrespect Luther Burden, though. And so this is where things get really tough. Yeah, they get really tough because I don't want to disrespect anybody at all. I'm going to do it like this right now. I do like Luther Burden more than Desmond Howard, but I do think they are on the same tier. But then it's like, where do I put Devonta Smith? S tier? I mean, he's nearly as good as Desmond Howard. Not quite as good. I don't mind putting him at the top of S tier. Devonta Smith is an absolute stud. Jaden Higgins isn't bad. He's going to be a long, lengthy, physical wide receiver. The problem for Jaden Higgins is it's like your speed's just not great. I'm going to throw you at C tier. 82 speed's not the worst, but it's just not the best. Horton up next, 83 speed. Throw him right in there. If you have 83 speed, you can go at C tier for me every single time. Jeremiah Smith, 85 speed. I'm throwing Jeremiah Smith at A tier. He's probably the lower end of A tier, but to me, he's still an A tier wide receiver. And especially for his price, I don't think at this stage he is super expensive. Probably should go down even more with the stories of the week today. Definitely a card to recommend picking up. Nair up next. I'm going to go C tier. I do think, you know, with his speed, he's okay. Again, not necessarily my favorite card on this list, but definitely a stud. Adunze up next. Top of S tier. And again, it's tough because I'm going to limit my GOAT tiers. But Adunze, Devonta Smith, they're at the very top of S tier. It does not get much better than that. Next up, guys, Randy Moss. I'm going to put him at the lower end of A tier. I mean, or S tier. I do think he is S tier, but I don't necessarily think he's that great. He's definitely not worth the price he is going for in college football Ultimate Team. Watkins up next. I actually have used Watkins, so like I have him on my team, and sometimes when like some of my players get tired and stuff, Watkins actually will come in the game. And when he does, you'd be surprised at how many times he gets open. I mean, this is most of these cards, honestly, I haven't used, but I can talk about because of their stats, their animation, or their stats, you know, their height, all those types of things. But for Watkins, I've actually used that card, and he has been really, really solid in the times I have used him. Rock Taylor here, last he finally loaded, 81 speed, 85 overall. You're gonna go a D tier. Not a card that I recommend. So that's going to wrap it up for our tier list today, guys. Obviously, you got the GOAT tier, Burden and Desmond Howard. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. S tier is absolutely elite. A tier is still cards that can play at the highest level that are really, really good and maybe not super expensive. B tier, maybe some budget beasts. C tier lower, I'd probably try to limit the amount of guys you got there. Maybe pick up some of these 83s as far as budget guys. That's going to wrap it up, though. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. One last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move Chad Johnson up. He's got 83 speed, and for me, he deserves that D tier. But let me know, is Chad Johnson really better than Crabtree? Because I feel like I then got to move Crabtree up, and I'm fine with doing that. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.